I'm Amy.
I'm Wendell.
And I'm Patrick.
And
this is
Yes,
But Why?
Podcast. Oh my god, that's funny. So you were saying that you have been on the Airsex tour recently. What is that like? Like, how many cities are you doing? How much on the road time are you doing?
Well, Chris has been doing a bulk of it, but
Sure.
I did the Sturgis portion this year.
Oh yeah.
So that just involved like flying into Denver, driving up to Sturgis, doing we did an Airsex show a day for 8 days straight. We were on stage from 1 p.m. till 7 p.m. every day, doing other weird crowd participation things, games and stuff. And then coming back, and that was wild. It's our 3rd year doing it.
Yeah, are you just hitting a few cities along the way as he goes along? Like, he'll be like, hey, this one's going to be cool, come over to this one, or when you have time?
Yeah, it's just whenever I have time, or, because we don't make that much money from the tour to warrant flying both of us around. So it's just kind of like, if I'm in the same place, that he is.
Yeah. I like the idea of that show so much, the way the whole crowd becomes like a single, unified situation. Like I feel like everyone, even strangers, I've been in an Airsex show where I will stand in the, I've never performed it, but I've been in the audience where like I'll go up and watch a little bit and I have strangers all around me and I'm hearing their reactions and then I like lean in and say stuff to them or like we bond over something, It brings people together, I think, and also creates unusual factions of like, yes, I enjoy that sexual act. Yes, I'll go talk to those people. But how does it feel to sort of create that crowd participation frenzy?
I guess I've gotten a lot better at it, but
Yep.
it was hard at first because you're getting people not only to understand what the show is, that it's not a sex show, that it's a comedy show about sex, and that they can also participate. Not only that, but they can also participate in more creative ways than they may first think, because everyone goes up and does the like, oh, I came too quick routine, or, a lot of ladies will get up and do the whole, I'm just laying here while he does whatever, and then I roll over and go to sleep routine, which is equally as unsatisfying to a crowd. So it's a lot of like instantly educating the audience to what this is, and then hoping that they want to join in on it.
I wonder, do you ever make somebody who you know is in your like a comedian that you have with you do those bad ones to show the other people not to do it?
No, although we have worked it into the like spiel at the top of the show. Like sometimes we'll just say like, and don't come up here and do come in 5 seconds. That's not fun. Stuff like that. But,
Are there any like standout acts from the tour you just kind of went on, or is there like something that really stuck with you?
Well, they give us so when we do Sturgis, we're you're living on a campground that's essentially like its own small city. That's also a bar because there's just booze everywhere, and there's no police or anything. So it's just kind of you're in the Wild West, and we own the stage of Bikini Beach, which is like this it's the only watering hole in the whole ground, so people come and swim there, and we're just the stage. So it's like we just get to do pretty much whatever we want. And so one of the times we were like, what if we get contestants to just air fuck around the entire Bikini Beach instead of on stage? So for the final round, we had 3 people. One of them was in this bathtub they have there for you to wash your feet off. One was like standing in the sand. One was like up on the hill. And all these bikers and tough people and weirdos are walking by. They just hear a song playing and see 3 people air fucking, and a crowd of people all just looking around, and they just were like, what is this moment that's doing? That was a pretty magical moment. I don't know if I've seen Chris True laugh that hard in a couple of years. he tickled himself. So.
Oh man, talk about theater in the round. I mean, there just really had everything all over you there.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a wild use of space for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome.
Well, that's like the great thing about the show is like the possibilities are sort of endless and like ways that you can like change it up and everything. Like, because I've seen it at Fun Fest, I've seen it at the North Door, back when Fun was, still a thing.
Yeah, and we're experimenting with the format now. Like, I had the idea earlier this year of like, what could you do, like if we were going to be doing a monthly airsex show in the city, what would make people want to keep coming back to see it? And I had the idea of like, what if we themed each show so that it's like, oh, tonight it's Bowie songs, or it's, a Halloween or whatever. So this Christmas, like December 22nd, we're doing our first themed show in New Orleans, and it's going to be an airsex Christmas. And we're actually like booking the talent. Like we said, all right, pick a song or a character or whatever, and supposedly Big Frida is going to be one of the judges for the show.
Wow!
Yes, that's scheduled to happen. We'll see if it goes down, but that's going to be pretty silly.
Man, so you've been, like, over the years, you've definitely gotten more and more experience at, like, booking and creating these tours, these, like, big traveling shows, and I mean, and even with Hell Yes Fest right now and the other festivals that you've got your hand in, you're just really working on these huge projects. What have you learned along the way? What are the things that have developed for you as far as like, now that I've been doing this for so many years, I know that we should do this, or even just now when you said, what made me think of it was you saying, he's booked, maybe he'll come. And it's like, yeah, I get that. I get that because sometimes, people don't work out, especially people that are of like, that are real fancy. And they're like, well, that person's famous. Maybe they'll work with us, maybe they won't. But like, what are other things that you maybe have taken away from the experiences?
I think it's just been a lot of always being willing to improvise. Like, if Big Frida doesn't show, mm-hmm. we may not know that until the show starts. We right. just, there's so if we put all of our eggs in that basket, then we're potentially screwing ourselves. So for instance, with Hell Yes Fest in particular, for the past 2 years, we brought on a producing partner. We had this company that they produce a lot of concerts and tours. They did Pemberton Music Fest. And they approached us saying, hey, we like this cool little comedy thing you're doing. We don't know comedy that well, so we would just like to partner with you. And since they're like a multi-million-dollar organization, they had a nice budget, and they helped bring in a lot of the big fancy headliners that you saw in the past 2 years. Well, we were planning to do that again with them this year, and then somewhere around May, they went bankrupt and wound up like selling millions of dollars of tickets to a festival and then going bankrupt and not refunding the money. And so we suddenly had to distance ourselves from them because we had nothing to do with any of that. And then we had to go, wow, what are we going to do at Hell Yes Fest this year? Like, how do we do this? Like, we don't have a chunk of money to bring in a Sarah Silverman. So we just had to, talk. Chris and I had already come up with a good, last year it was 11 days long, Hell Yes Fest was. And we had already figured out a slimmed down version. We wanted it to be along St. Claude Avenue, so it was all walkable as much as possible. And since we didn't have to worry about headliners, we didn't have to worry about doing the big venues across town, it kind of wound up being better. And so we just had to go, all right, how do we do this on our own? And we took it back to the roots of what Hell Yes Fest was always about, which is featuring the up-and-coming people that you may not know about. And we're just hoping people trust us as curators, that we, even though you may not know what a certain show is or who any of these performers are, it's going to be a unique, fun time. So that's been a big lesson for me to learn as a producer, is like, if you are, if you get a big celebrity or headliner or whatever on your show, just be ready for something to go wrong, for someone to get stuck in traffic on the other side of town, or for your tech not to work, or, who knows? There's just so many ways that any given show, much less a festival composed of dozens of shows, can go wrong.
Yeah, wow. I mean, but even just the way you're talking about it you sound so like cool, calm, and collected about it, and which is great because it means that like the lessons have been where you took your lessons and you were like, okay, this is what I learned from it, and move forward, as opposed to like bitterness about like, why can't that company run its own blah blah blah. Instead, it's like, well, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
The nature of things, yeah.
I mean, like, keep in mind some of the things that have happened to me in my careers. Like, I've had pilots almost happen, like TV show pilots almost happen. Like, we filmed, we had MTV, like, bought an air sex TV show the whole season without us even making a pilot. We shot it all last summer. They edited it. We got to see it. It's beautiful and hilarious. And then MTV got a new president at the last minute, the day before they were going to announce the show, like in magazines and fucking worldwide. And the president decided to just cancel all the shows that they had in development. So that whole season of TV is just gone or somewhere. It may come back. We don't know
because they still own it, right? Like, you can't, like, shop it somewhere else.
They're trying to do that.
Oh, okay, so there's, legal leeway. That's good.
The company that we worked with, they're doing that. But, like, that kind of a thing, to a lot of people, would devastate them. Would make them want to give up on comedy or give up a creative career. But I personally, I can't speak on Chris's behalf, but for me, I have had this happen so many times. I've seen it happen to so many of my friends and people I work with that I'm like, what else are you going to do? You just going to lay down and die and give up? Or are you just going to keep rolling with it?
Right. Because I think that's the kind of attitude that anybody successful is going to have. It's like, like if every little defeat just breaks you down, then maybe find something like less defeatful,
and I'm not saying that I don't get upset by it or that I don't have those moments where I'm clutching my head going, what am I doing with my life? Like, that's
you're a human being, of course.
But I guess it's a little easier to dust myself off after having done this a while.
Yeah, I mean, you have had so many different experiences. I remember when I first asked you to do this, I thought to myself, like, wow, Brock's probably had the widest breadth of like different experiences within this kind of world than anybody we've even talked to. Despite, I mean, I've talked to people that are like, they did this television show. Yeah, well, that's what they did. And they don't do other things. They just do that one thing. But like, you've worked in Los Angeles with other people on their projects. You developed your own stuff. You worked with Chris on this and other websites and other projects. Even the idea of air sex being like, that's probably about the like 10th or 20th project you guys came up with, and it was like, okay, this one seems to be working, let's go. The amazing, all the different experiences that you've had are shaping you to be the resilient producer that you are. From earlier, when I first met you, you lived in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And did you go to Los Angeles straight from college, or what was your path from I'm gonna do Studio 8 videos in college with Chris to getting to Los Angeles just in the beginning stages?
Well, that was because, I thought I was going to go to LA right out of college, but then we were producing our own stuff in Baton Rouge, for about a year and a half. And then when the film industry boom happened in New Orleans, I started working just from a PA upwards. We had such a small labor pool. I worked on maybe 10 movies all in a row without a break, ranging from the $60 million budgets to the $1 million Lifetime movie terrible budgets. And so then when Katrina happened, that's when it was like, well, we can't. There's no movies shooting here for at least 6 months. I don't know if